Hello, everybody. It's Rigas again from the Practice Research Agency. And this is a continuation of episode that I did last year, a few weeks ago, on whether some packaging redesign that we had noticed throughout the year may or may not be effective in creating a reappraisal of the product. And you know what it's like. When you start noticing something, you start noticing it like everywhere. So since then, I have become acutely aware of packaging. One that came across my view again on social media, it was an announcement of a repackaging for a particular product, as we often see now on LinkedIn. The organizations will, I think rightfully, announce that there's been a repackaging, who worked on it, thank you to the people who worked on it, etc. It's actually quite a nice thing, I think, and quite a rewarding thing for the people who have worked on it to be recognized in this way for their endeavors and for their artistic endeavors as well. So absolutely no issue with any of that. I think that's really good stuff. Otherwise, these designers and whatnot remain largely unsung. They're in the background, aren't they? You don't know who they are, the people who do this stuff. You don't know who the people are who make ads. There's no credits on packaging or advertising, as Don Draper fictitiously, obviously, once said in Mad Men. There's no credits in advertising. But we're not here to talk about people's efforts and how great their efforts are. We're here to talk about output, and we're here to talk about marketing effectiveness. So the example I want to talk about today is this example here, and I'll bring it up as well so we can all look at it. And it is, of course, a very well-known product in a very well-loved category, which is potato chips. I think more broadly referred to as the salty snacks category. Let's just look at this in relation to its immediate competitors, which will be potato chips, and even within potato chips, because of the nature of these chips, because they're kettle chips, then we need to look at them in terms of their direct competition in the subcategory of, I guess you could call it, kettle chips. Now, again, I will disclose that I am both a fan of kettle chips and I have also worked for snack brands. However, that is completely irrelevant to what I'm about to discuss today. I am a consumer of these products. I love potato chips. The product was packaged as we can remember it up until very recently, like I'm about to show you now on the screen. I want to discuss the repackaging of this product. So here's the pack that has been on the shelf for a while, and it was changed to a new pack design. I'm here to analyze whether the repackaging has created a reappraisal of the product. Okay, so let's look at them side by side. Here is the before and here is the after. Okay, so we can see, look at the central strip, which is telling us what this chip is, the flavor of the chip and so forth. That's gone from, it's again, they've changed it from a negative to a positive contrast. I don't know which is which one designers call which, but you can see we've gone from sea salt in black there on the blue to sea salt in white on what looks like the same blue. It may not be exactly the same blue, but it looks like the same blue. And the Kettle brand, I believe, if it has changed, it's very subtle. We can see the depiction of the product, which has again showing us the nature of the chip itself, which is the kettle chip, which is why I was keen to compare this against other kettle chips, which we'll do in a minute. The ingredient is clearly visible, which is the salt. So it also has this rustic looking sort of chopping board effect. So it's plain salt, it's kettle chips, it's the original, it's kettle. It's been around a long time. You know what you're going to get. It's now changed to this. What's changed? Has this created a reappraisal of the product? I can still see the chips, but maybe not as clearly as I could before. The chips seem to be taking up less real estate. The salt is still there, but it is depicted differently. There is, I guess, what you might call the rustic look of the chopping board has gone, and it's purely just a black background. Black is a good background on which to showcase anything, really. So there's a fantastic contrast going on there when you put anything on black. The product, to me as a consumer, and I buy this product and I buy the competitor product as well. It looks to me like it's diminished somehow. Now, the thing is, sea salt is a bit clearer, but then again, it wasn't unclear before, was it? Okay, so it was black on blue, so it's not as clear as white on blue. But again, it's they're both very clear. That's the whole point, isn't it? They're both very clear. Yeah, white on blue is a bit clearer, but it's like saying the black on blue I can definitely see, and the white on blue I can absolutely definitely see. Do you see what I mean? It's just there's no difference. It's just really a superlative difference between the two, if that. And the product is taking up less real estate. It's got a less of a rustic thing feel to it. It's Here's the question. Does the new pack, the aftershot here, does this make me want to buy Kettle Chips more so than the before one? And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be negative here because I know these clients as well, and they're very obviously very smart people, very good company. Snack Brands been around a long time. This is they invented, in fact, Snack Brands invented, I believe, the Kettle Chip a long time ago, really, or invented the category. But I think in this instance that the repackaging has, for me as a consumer, has diminished the product. The product is taking up less real estate. A whole dimension of rusticness, which is the chopping board, has been removed. And again, even the depiction of the salt, from my aesthetic consumer view, I believe the depiction in the earlier one looks a bit better. It's possible that this new pack, it has more shelf visibility. Maybe it pops more on the shelf, but that is a little difficult to understand purely from looking at these pictures. I would say if it does pop a bit more on the shelf, it would be again a negligible superiority over the other one in the sense that I can see one, and yes, I can also see the other one. It's kind of like that. I can see them both. So I don't think this has created a positive reappraisal for me, unfortunately. And I'm not saying it to be negative at all. I like this brand. I like this brand. I like this company. I like this product. I don't know. It's hard to say, really. It becomes subjective at this point, doesn't it? In terms of what I'm saying, it becomes very subjective. Now, here's the thing. Snack Brands would, one, definitely, oh my God, I think I'd wager money on it, would have researched this pack alongside other packaging submissions. In my mind, as a researcher who is involved in marketing and sales, obviously, for a very long time, I would be looking at, does this create a positive reappraisal of the product itself? Okay, so let's come to why this is so important in potato chips. We're not just buying the Kettle brand, we are buying the Kettle brand in the sense that it is a shortcut to the sensory experience that we received when we ate these chips. So a certain taste, it's chips, so it's got to be texture, right? And what else is there? It's taste and texture. So a certain taste, a certain texture, and that was Kettle, very well-known brand, very high mental availability, and that mental availability will be linked to the sensorial experience of the product itself or our memory of it. Why I believe that the packaging has to, in this instance, must create a positive reappraisal of the product itself. And the reason that I say that is because the competitor for Kettle, the direct competitor, is this brand here, Red Rock Deli. And Red Rock Deli is owned by PepsiCo, which also owns other very famous chip brands as well. So in this instance, the competitor or the direct competitor for Kettle is this Red Rock Deli. I don't know who's number one and number two. But looking at the presence on the shelf, and given the fact that Red Rock Deli is owned by PepsiCo and not, I would hazard to say that Red Rock Deli has the bigger market share. You would think, okay, now this is a share war, isn't it? This is a war about, in this subcategory at the very least, about market share. How much can I get from them? How much are they going to get from me, etc., etc.? And what's that war about? What's that war about? It might be about flavors. It might be that one brand offers certain flavors that the other brand doesn't offer. It might be that. It might be the perceived taste of the, even if you compare the plain salt chips between the two brands, there might be a perception that there is a taste or texture difference between the brands that is causing a preference. But it's likely to be something like that, isn't it? It's likely to be either a flavor driver, whether it be like different types of flavors, or it might be a superior plain flavor driver, or it might be a superior textural driver that is creating preference for one or the other. But does it create a positive reappraisal of the product, either in terms of flavor or texture or something or other maybe so that it can actually compete more effectively against its direct competition, which is probably also functioning on the same drivers. But nevertheless, this repackaging does not look to me like it has enhanced either the flavor or the texture. Is this going to deliver a superior flavor and textural experience to the Red Rock Deli? And so let's look now at the new kettle packaging versus Red Rock Deli. They do look very different, don't they? And you've got to admit there is an absolute world of difference between these two packs. When I look at the Red Rock Deli, I see a product seems fresher in some way. I know that's a strange thing to say. Why does it seem fresher to me? It's just because of the color scheme that they've used. Because of that very, I don't know if you could call it that bluey gray. You know what it is? It's sea salt. Okay, that's what it is. They've taken great pains to get across this idea of the sea salt and anything to do with the sea and these colors. It's fresh, isn't it? It's invigorating, it's fresh. Now, that's a strange thing to say about a potato chip, but the perception of now freshness is the wrong word. It's the perception of the texture of the product that is key in terms of freshness I believe, when it comes to potato chips, because they're not freshly cooked or anything like that, right? It's not fresh in that traditional sense of the word fresh, but it is fresh reinterpreted as potentially having a maybe a crunchier texture or a sort of a fresher salty flavor. Is that possible? More sea salty type flavor? Is that possible? I don't know. I don't know. But see, that's what this packaging is doing to me. It's saying it's depicting freshness, it's depicting salt in a very symbolic, the sea salt in a very clever, symbolic kind of way. This is why I'm harping on about, does the new packaging create a sensory reappraisal of the product itself? Because this is what you're up against. Not only are they owned by PepsiCo, have extremely effective packaging and very clever packaging. It's a very, I don't know how to put it. It's okay. Yeah, no, I do. It is the abstraction of the sea salt on pack. That's the best way I can put it. It is the abstraction of the sea salt on pack. And I think once you see that and once you realize that, you can realize the genius of that in this particular packaging. I don't know this client or anything like that, never worked on this brand. In fact, I don't even prefer this brand of potato chip, to be honest. However, I'm looking at the packaging now of the kettle and this, and I'm thinking, no, I think I might try this, and I'll just wait till it's on special. Of course, I'm not stupid. I'll wait till it's on special and I'll try it. The kettle has gone dark. It's gone dark. In fact, it is not really paying that much attention to the product. Everything's black. It's just the product as depicted there with the salt. Quite simple compared to this again, which has managed to capture some sort of essence of that sea salt freshness. I can't say that Red Rock Deli is really showcasing the chip much more strongly than is Kettle, but the whole package together is communicating potentially a more interesting, maybe better sensorial experience. I don't know how better. It could be the saltiness of it, it could be the texture of it. I don't know. And at $3 a pack, when on special, it's not really much of an investment to find out, is it? But that is, in fact, the problem, isn't it? See, that is, in fact, the problem. And that's what this whole war between these two brands and all brands boils down to. It boils down to whether you can get me at that point to spend that $3 on this product and not the other one, because I've only got so many chip buying occasions per annum. And if you're being pipped at the post once, twice, three times per annum, then you're behind the eight ball. And that's why small shifts in penetration up or down can actually have big effects on big financial effects on the brands. So look, I'm going to leave it at that because again, I don't wish, this is not actually a criticism at all of Kettle or what Kettle have done or what snack brands have done. Like I said, I'm a fan of the brand. It's a very good brand. It's a very good company. It makes very good products. However, it is a competitive environment, and we'd be silly not to look at what it's doing vis-a-vis its competition. So I will leave it at that. I think we've said enough on that. A bit meandering at times. I'm sorry. Again, if you've watched this far, thank you very much, and we will speak again soon. Goodbye.